You won't believe what I'm about to tell you. A ballroom packed with 200 of the wealthiest people you could imagine, all dressed to the nines, champagne flowing, crystal chandeliers throwing golden light everywhere. Everyone's there for charity, right? That's what they say. But here's the thing. Sometimes the most dangerous predators hide in plain sight, wearing tuxedos and million-dollar smiles. Now, I need you to understand something. Nathan Hayes wasn't supposed to be the hero of this story. He was just a driver. Invisible. The kind of guy who blends into the background while rich people live their lives. But Nathan had a past, the kind that doesn't just disappear because you want it to. And on this particular night, that past was about to save someone's life in the most unexpected way possible. Let me take you back to the beginning. Nathan's standing in the corner of this extravagant ballroom, right where the hired help belongs. But his eyes? They're not behaving like a regular chauffeur's eyes. They're scanning the room, tracking movements, memorizing faces, calculating exit routes. Old habits die hard when you used to protect the President of the United States. Yeah, you heard that right. This driver used to be Secret Service, presidential detail, the real deal. He'd been working for Olivia Cartwright for exactly 2 months. She's 29 years old, running a billion-dollar empire because her father dropped dead from what everyone called a heart attack. Nathan? He had serious doubts about that story. But doubts don't pay the bills, and Nathan had bills. Serious ones. Medical bills for his 7-year-old daughter Sophie. So he showed up every day, drove the car, kept his observations to himself, and tried to be normal. Whatever that meant. But tonight, something's off. Nathan can feel it in his bones, that tingle of wrong that used to keep presidents alive. And then he sees it. A waiter moving through the crowd. But this guy's shoulders are all wrong. His eyes are wrong. He's not looking at guests the way servers do. He's locked onto something specific. Olivia's champagne glass. Time slows down the way it does when your training kicks in. Nathan watches this waiter position himself perfectly, watches Olivia reach for that glass, watches her smile at someone and start lifting it toward her lips. And Nathan knows. He just knows. Something terrible is about to happen, and he's got maybe 4 seconds to stop it. Now here's where it gets wild. No time to shout across a crowded ballroom. No time to knock the glass away without causing a scene. No time for anything except the most insane split-second decision Nathan's ever made. He crosses that floor faster than anyone expects a driver to move, grabs Olivia's wrist, pulls her close and kisses her. Hard. Desperate. Right there in front of 200 shocked witnesses. Can you imagine? 1 second you're at a charity gala, the next second your driver is kissing you like the world's ending. Olivia has no idea what's happening. But Nathan does. He feels the champagne transfer from her lips to his, tastes the bubbles and something else, something bitter and metallic that burns across his tongue like acid and poison combined. The entire ballroom goes silent. Dead silent. Phones come out. People point. Whispers explode into shocked murmurs. And Olivia? She's furious. Humiliated. Her hand comes up and she slaps him so hard the crack echoes off the marble walls like a gunshot. What the hell is wrong with you? Her voice cuts through the chaos, face flushed red with rage and embarrassment. 200 people just watched her employee kiss her in front of everyone who matters in her world. But Nathan's already feeling the poison working. His vision's blurring at the edges. His tongue's going numb. He grabs her arm, probably too rough, and forces words through lips that don't want to cooperate anymore. Need to talk. No. Something in his voice stops her from pulling away. Maybe it's the slur in his words. Maybe it's the way his left eye's watering uncontrollably, tears streaming down his face without permission. Whatever it is, she follows him into the hallway. The heavy doors close behind them, cutting off the chaos, and suddenly they're alone in this gold-mirrored corridor that reflects them back in infinite repetition. Nathan leans against the wall, fighting the overwhelming urge to vomit. Olivia's standing 3 feet away, arms crossed, waiting for an explanation that could possibly make sense of what just happened. You have 10 seconds. Her voice is ice-cold and controlled. Before I call the police. Nathan forces the words out, each one harder than the last. Your champagne was poisoned. I saw the waiter. Something was wrong with how he moved, how he looked at you. I didn't have time to knock it away, so I... He gestures vaguely between them, at the space that was violently closed 30 seconds ago. Olivia laughs, sharp and disbelieving. That's insane. You're telling me you kissed me because you thought someone poisoned my drink? Do you even hear yourself? But her voice wavers on that last word. She's smart, this one. Really smart. She's been running a multi-billion-dollar company for 6 months without a single major mistake. She knows how to read situations. And right now, she's reading him. Look at me, Nathan says. He steps into the light and lets her see his face properly. His lips are swelling, turning an ugly shade of red. Small blisters are forming at the corners of his mouth. That left eye's still streaming tears he can't control. Olivia's expression shifts. Anger morphs into something else. Fear, maybe. Recognition, definitely. Oh my God. The words come out as a whisper. She reaches toward his face, then jerks her hand back like she's afraid touching him might contaminate her. We need to get you to a hospital. Right now. Nathan shakes his head and immediately regrets the movement as the entire hallway tilts sideways. Not yet. The waiter. Did you see where he went? But Olivia's not listening anymore. She's got her phone out, fingers flying across the screen. I'm calling 911. He catches her wrist, gentler this time. If you do that, whoever poisoned you will know it didn't work. They'll disappear. And they'll try again. His vision's definitely getting worse. Shadows creeping in from the sides like dark fingers reaching for him. I need you to trust me for about 5 minutes. Can you do that? She looks at him for what feels like forever, weighing options he can't see, calculating risks in that sharp mind of hers. Finally, she nods. 5 minutes. Then we're going to the hospital and you're going to tell me who you really are. Because drivers don't talk like you're talking. Fair enough. Nathan slides down the wall, his legs deciding they're done holding him up. His hands are shaking now, fine tremors he can't control. I used to work for the Secret Service. Presidential detail. I was good at reading threats, reading people. He swallows hard, tastes copper and chemicals mixing in his mouth. I left 3 years ago. My wife died. Car accident. I had a daughter to raise alone, and the hours didn't work anymore. It's the truth. Most of it anyway. He leaves out the parts that don't fit in 5 minutes, the parts that still wake him up at 3 in the morning. Olivia processes this information with the same focus she probably brings to board meetings. So my father hired you? Nathan nods. He called me 2 weeks before he died. Said he needed a driver he could trust. Someone with a specific skill set. He died before we could meet in person. Something flickers across Olivia's face, too fast for Nathan to read properly. He never mentioned you. She's already pulling up her phone, fingers moving quickly. I'm looking at the hiring records. You were processed through HR like everyone else. Standard background check, standard contract. That's what he wanted. Nathan can feel consciousness slipping, his body shutting down non-essential systems to fight whatever poison is coursing through his veins. Olivia, I need you to call someone. Not the hospital. Not yet. He recites a phone number, makes her repeat it back twice until he's sure she's got it memorized. Tell him Nathan Hayes drank approximately 2 ounces of poisoned champagne at a charity gala. Tell him I need Dr. Sarah Mitchell. She'll know what to do. Olivia's already dialing, her face pale but focused. Nathan respects that about her. No hysterics, no panic. Just action. She's her father's daughter, all right? The call connects and she relays the information exactly like he told her. Then she listens to whoever's on the other end, her expression intense. He says 20 minutes. She tells Nathan, crouching beside him. He's sending someone. She takes his hand. Her fingers are freezing cold. Or maybe his are just burning up. Hard to tell at this point. Stay with me. Her voice is softer now, almost gentle. Tell me about your daughter. Smart distraction technique. Keep him talking. Keep him conscious. Nathan tries to smile and feels his face crack. Her name's Sophie. She's 7. 2nd grade. Wants to be a veterinarian when she grows up. The words come slower now, his tongue thick and clumsy in his mouth. She has her mother's eyes. Brown with these little gold flecks. And she laughs like her too. Loud and sudden, Like she can't help herself. What happened to your wife? Olivia's voice carries a softness Nathan's never heard from her before. At work, she's all business, all sharp edges and quick decisions. This is different. This is real. Car accident. He says it again because the truth is too complicated and he doesn't have enough oxygen for complicated right now. 3 years ago. I was at work. She was driving home from her sister's house. Truck ran a red light. All true. All incomplete. All painful. I'm sorry. Olivia means it. He can hear it in her voice, that weight of understanding that comes from losing someone too soon. The door at the end of the hallway opens and Nathan tries to focus on whoever's approaching. Dark suit, medical bag, purposeful stride. Dr. Sarah Mitchell looks exactly like she did 3 years ago when she treated him for a concussion after a training incident. She kneels beside him, all business, checking his pupils, his pulse, his breathing with practiced efficiency. What was it? She asks Olivia. I don't know. Olivia's voice is tight. I didn't drink it. Sarah looks at Nathan. Symptoms? He tries to list them, but his brain's getting fuzzy. Metallic taste. Burning sensation. Throat closing. Vision blurring. Numbness spreading. Sarah's already pulling supplies from her bag, setting up in 4 with the kind of speed that comes from years of emergency medicine. Could be several things. Cyanide. Strychnine. Some kind of arsenic compound. Won't know for sure until we get labs, but we're treating for worst-case scenario. She looks at Olivia. I need you to tell me everything about that drink. Where it came from, who handled it, anything you remember. While Sarah works, Olivia talks. The champagne tower at the center of the room. The waiter who appeared at her elbow offering a glass from his tray. She hadn't thought anything of it. Why would she? It was her event, her guests, her world. Nathan feels the 4-needle bite into his arm. Cool liquid flooding his system. Sarah's talking, explaining something about activated charcoal and chelating agents, but the words blur together. He catches fragments. Blood work. Observation. Lucky. He stole poison from a woman's mouth and she's calling him lucky. From a certain angle, he supposes she's right. If he hadn't been watching, if he hadn't recognized the threat, if he'd been a normal driver doing a normal job, Olivia would be the one on this floor right now. The thought clears his head like cold water thrown in his face. He grabs Sarah's wrist, forces the words out. The waiter. Gray suit. Brown hair. Scar on his left hand. Someone needs to find him. Sarah looks at Olivia. Call hotel security. No. Lock down all exits. Olivia's already moving. Phone pressed to her ear, voice sharp with authority. Nathan hears her giving orders, telling someone to seal the building, check security footage, find a waiter who doesn't exist on any staff list. Sarah finishes with the 4 and sits back. You're stable for now. We've bought some time. But Nathan, you need a real hospital. Real facilities. Real labs. This is field medicine, not treatment. He nods. Feels the world spin like a carnival ride. 10 minutes. I need 10 more minutes. He looks past Sarah to where Olivia's still on the phone, pacing in her white designer dress that probably costs more than his car. She's in danger. If I go to the hospital, she's alone. She has security, Sarah points out, reasonable as ever. Nathan shakes his head, regrets the movement immediately. Her security called in sick this morning. Convenient timing, don't you think? I'm all she has right now. He can see Sarah weighing it, the doctor's oath against the reality of what's happening. Finally, she nods. 10 minutes. Then you're going conscious or not? She stands and walks over to Olivia, says something Nathan can't hear. Olivia's face goes hard, that boardroom expression settling into place like armor. She ends her call and comes back to where Nathan's propped against the wall like a broken toy. Hotel security found the jacket. But no waiter. They're checking footage now. She crouches so they're at eye level. Nathan, tell me the truth. All of it. My father hired you because he thought someone was trying to kill him, didn't he? No point in lying now. The cat's out of the bag, as they say. Nathan nods. He called me 2 weeks before he died. Said he'd discovered something. Someone in the company was embezzling, hiding it through offshore accounts and shell corporations. He'd narrowed it down to 2 people but couldn't prove which one. He wanted me close to you as protection while he figured it out. Olivia's jaw tightens. He died before he could tell you who? Another nod. The movement makes his vision swim. And you think whoever killed him is now trying to kill me? It's not a question. She understands the pattern, sees the thread connecting her father's sudden death to tonight's poisoned champagne. I think you know something you don't know you know. Nathan forces the words out. Something your father might have told you, or something in his files. And someone's afraid you'll figure it out. Who? That single word carries 6 months of grief and confusion. Nathan wishes he had a better answer. Your father mentioned 2 names. Richard Bartlett, your CFO, and David Sutton, head of acquisitions. He watches her face carefully, looking for tells, for recognition, for anything that might help. Olivia stands abruptly and starts pacing like a caged animal. Richard's been with the company for 15 years. He was my father's college roommate. David's newer, maybe 5 years, but he's brilliant. Brought in some of our biggest deals. She stops, turns back to Nathan. You think one of them poisoned my champagne? I think one of them hired someone to poison your champagne. Nathan corrects. That waiter was a professional. The way he moved, the way he positioned himself, the way he vanished. That's not amateur hour. He can feel the medication working now, pushing back against the poison, giving him enough clarity to think properly. We need to get you somewhere safe. Somewhere private. Then we need to look at your father's files. Olivia's already pulling out her phone. I have copies of everything at my apartment. Complete digital archive of his computer, emails, calendar for the last 2 years. She's texting someone. I'm telling my assistant to cancel the rest of the evening. Family emergency. She looks at Nathan. Can you walk? He can try. Sarah helps him to his feet, keeps a steadying hand on his elbow as the hallway decides to tilt sideways like a funhouse. This is a terrible idea. Sarah informs them both. You should be in a hospital, and she should be surrounded by actual security professionals. Noted. Nathan takes a step, then another, forcing his legs to remember their primary function. Olivia moves to his other side, lending support without being asked. Together, the 3 of them make their way to the service elevator, avoiding the ballroom and its 200 witnesses to Nathan's very public indiscretion. The drive to Olivia's apartment takes 15 minutes through downtown traffic. Nathan spends it fighting waves of nausea and watching the side mirrors for anyone following them. Sarah sits in back monitoring his vitals and muttering medical opinions about stubborn patients who don't listen to reason. Olivia drives with the same focused intensity she brings to everything else, weaving through cars with practiced ease. They pull into the underground garage of a building that probably has better security than most government facilities. Olivia uses a key card to access a private elevator that opens directly into her penthouse. The doors slide open onto a space that surprises Nathan. No gold fixtures or crystal chandeliers. Just clean lines, comfortable furniture, and walls covered in photographs. Family pictures. Olivia with her father at various ages. Olivia with a woman who must be her mother. Olivia graduating college, cutting ribbons, shaking hands with important people. Surprised? Olivia asks, catching his expression. People expect billionaires to live like movie villains. I just wanted a home. She leads them to a study off the main living area. Walls lined with bookshelves, desk holding 3 large monitors. Sarah makes Nathan sit in a leather chair while she checks his vitals again. Pulse still elevated. Blood pressure dropping. Pupils reactive but sluggish. She looks at him. You're stabilizing, but you're not out of danger. I'm staying until we figure out exactly what you ingested. Olivia's already at the desk, fingers flying across keyboards, pulling up files and folders faster than Nathan can track. My father's digital archive. Everything from his computer, phone, tablet. I had it all pulled after he died. She looks back at Nathan. I went through most of it. Financial reports, emails, meeting notes. Nothing jumped out as suspicious. Nathan pushes himself out of the chair, ignoring Sarah's protest. Show me his calendar. Last 2 months before he died. The calendar fills the screen, color-coded blocks representing meetings and appointments. Nathan scans the entries looking for patterns. Lots of meetings with Richard Bartlett, the CFO. Weekly dinners with someone listed only as DS, probably David Sutton. Monthly board meetings. Daily briefings with department heads. And then, 2 weeks before his death, a single entry that stands out like a sore thumb. JK confidential audit. Off-site. Nathan points at it. Who's JK? Olivia zooms in, frowning. I don't know. There's no location, no follow-up, nothing in his emails about it. An audit. Sarah says from behind them. That's what you do when you suspect financial irregularities. Exactly. Nathan nods. He was gathering evidence. Probably hired an outside auditor to look at the books quietly. He scrolls through the following days, looking for any mention of JK or audit results. Nothing. The entry just sits there, isolated and unexplained. And then 8 days later, Olivia's father was dead. We need to find JK, Nathan says. They might have the proof your father was looking for. Olivia's already searching, pulling up company contacts, vendor lists, consultant registries. There's no one with those initials in any of our current files. She bites her lip, thinking. Wait. My father kept a personal address book. Old school, paper and pen. He said some things shouldn't be digital. She leaves the study and returns moments later with a leather-bound book, pages worn soft from years of use. She flips through it quickly, running her finger down columns of handwritten names and numbers. Here, James Kirkland, forensic accountant, Boston address. Nathan feels something click into place in his mind. Call him. No. Olivia reaches for her phone, then hesitates. If someone's willing to poison me at a public event, they might be monitoring my phone. Smart and paranoid. Nathan approves. Use mine. He pulls out a basic prepaid cell, the kind that can't be traced or tracked easily. I keep it for emergencies. Olivia takes the phone and dials the number from her father's book. It rings 4 times, then goes to voicemail. She leaves a careful message, identifying herself, saying she needs to discuss an audit he did for her father, asking him to call back at this number. When she hangs up, the 3 of them stand in silence, the weight of unanswered questions filling the room like smoke. Finally, Sarah speaks. You need to call the police. This is attempted murder. Let professionals handle it. Olivia shakes her head. If we call the police, whoever did this will lawyer up. We'll never prove anything. My father dies of a heart attack. I almost drink poison champagne. A forensic accountant goes silent. Without hard evidence, it's all just coincidence. She's right, Nathan says. Sarah gives him a look that suggests he's being an idiot, but she doesn't argue further. Olivia starts pacing again, her earlier composure cracking at the edges. My father knew. He knew someone was stealing from the company. He knew they were dangerous enough to kill for it. And he tried to protect me by hiring you. She turns to Nathan, eyes bright with unshed tears. But he died anyway. And now someone's tried to kill me. What am I supposed to do? Who can I trust? Nathan wants to tell her it'll be okay, that they'll figure it out, that justice will prevail. But he's been down this road before. He knows how hard it is to prove murder when it's disguised as natural causes. Knows how evidence disappears and witnesses change their stories and powerful people stay protected. You trust the evidence, he says. We find what your father found. We prove the embezzlement, and we prove whoever did it was willing to kill to keep it hidden. The prepaid phone rings, sudden and loud in the quiet room. Olivia grabs it. Hello? Yes, this is Olivia Cartwright. Thank you for calling back so quickly. She listens, her face going pale. I see. No, I understand. Is there any way we could meet? It's urgent. More listening. Tomorrow morning. Yes, I'll be there. Thank you. She ends the call and looks at Nathan. James Kirkland says my father hired him to audit the company's offshore accounts. He found evidence of systematic embezzlement going back 7 years. Nearly $50 million moved through shell corporations and false vendors. Did he tell your father? Nathan asks, already knowing the answer. Olivia nods. He sent his report 3 days before my father died. Complete breakdown of the fraud with documentation. He says my father called him after receiving it, said he was going to confront the person responsible. That was the last time they spoke. She sits down heavily in the desk chair. He also said someone broke into his office last month. They didn't take anything, but his files were disturbed. He's been scared ever since. Nathan's mind is already working through the implications. Your father confronted the embezzler. The embezzler killed him and made it look like a heart attack. But your father was careful. He must have hidden copies of the audit somewhere, insurance in case something happened. And now the embezzler is afraid you'll find those copies. He looks at Olivia. Where would your father hide something he wanted to keep absolutely secret? Olivia thinks for a long moment. There's a safe deposit box at First National downtown. I have a key, but I've never opened it. My father told me once that it contained important documents, but only to access it if something happened to him. She meets Nathan's eyes. I thought he was being paranoid. After he died, I just couldn't face going through his things. I told myself there was time. We go tomorrow, Nathan says. First thing in the morning. Get whatever's in that box. Sarah clears her throat. Tomorrow, Nathan goes to a real hospital for real treatment. He's lucky to be conscious right now. Nathan ignores her and keeps his focus on Olivia. Who else knows about the safe deposit box? Olivia frowns. I don't know. Maybe his lawyer. Maybe Richard. They were close friends. My father might have mentioned it. The thought lands like ice water in Nathan's veins. If Richard Bartlett was the embezzler and he knew about the safe deposit box, they were already running out of time. Nathan pulls out his phone, his real phone this time, and makes a call. Jack, it's Nathan Hayes. I need a favor. I need overnight protection. 2 people. High-risk situation. Can you spare anyone? Jack Morrison had been his partner in the Secret Service, the one person he'd stayed in contact with after leaving. There's a pause while Jack asks questions Nathan can't fully answer over the phone. Personal job. Off the books. I'll explain later. Another pause. Thanks. I owe you. He hangs up and turns to Olivia. 2 agents are coming. They'll stay here tonight, keep watch. Sarah stays too. Keeps me alive. Tomorrow we get the audit files and figure out who killed your father. Olivia looks like she wants to argue, then simply nods. The fight's gone out of her, replaced by exhaustion and grief and fear all mixing together. Nathan recognizes that look. He's seen it in his own mirror for months after his wife died. The agents arrive within an hour, professional and efficient. Nathan knows them both from his old life, trusts them to do the job without asking questions he can't answer yet. They secure the apartment, check sightlines and entry points, settle in for a long night of vigilance. Sarah makes Nathan lie down on the couch, hooks him up to a portable monitor, tells him to sleep if he can. Olivia disappears into her bedroom, and Nathan hears the quiet sound of crying through the closed door. He stares at the ceiling, feeling the poison still working through his system, slower now but persistent. His thoughts keep circling back to the ballroom, that moment when he saw the wrong pattern in the crowd. He'd acted on instinct, muscle memory from years of training. But it was more than that. Somewhere in the back of his mind, he'd known this was coming. Known the job was never just about driving a car. His wife used to tell him he was terrible at being normal. She'd meant it as a joke, but she was right. Normal people don't see threats in every shadow. Normal people don't carry prepaid phones for emergencies. Normal people don't kiss billionaires to steal poison from their mouths. Morning comes gray and cold, rain streaking the windows. Nathan wakes to Sarah checking his vitals and declaring him miraculously not dead. You should be in a hospital, she says for what feels like the 100th time. Noted. He replies for what feels like the 100th time. Olivia emerges from her bedroom looking pale but determined. She's dressed in jeans and a sweater instead of her usual designer suits, hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. Without makeup, she looks younger, more vulnerable, more human. They take Nathan's car instead of the town car, borrowed from a friend and registered to a false name just in case someone's watching. The bank is downtown, old stone building with brass fixtures and that particular smell of money and marble. Olivia signs the access forms, and they're escorted to a private room lined with safe deposit boxes. She uses her key, the attendant uses his, and the long metal box slides out with a whisper of steel on steel. Inside is a manila envelope, thick with papers. Olivia opens it with shaking hands. Financial documents spill out, page after page of bank transfers and shell company registrations and offshore accounts. And on top, a handwritten letter in her father's distinctive scroll. Olivia, it begins. If you're reading this, I'm gone. And I'm sorry. I should have been more careful. I should have seen it coming. Nathan reads over her shoulder as Olivia's hands shake harder. I discovered that Richard Bartlett has been embezzling from the company for 7 years. He's been clever about it, hiding the money in layers of false transactions and offshore accounts. I have proof, all of it in this envelope. I was going to confront him tomorrow, but I wanted you to have this insurance first. If something happens to me, take this to the authorities. Don't trust anyone in the company. And please forgive me for putting you in danger. I thought I could handle this quietly. I was wrong. I love you. Be safe. Dad. The room is silent except for the sound of Olivia's breathing, sharp and quick. Richard. She whispers. He was my father's best friend. I've known him my whole life. Nathan takes the envelope and checks the documents. Bank statements showing transfers from Cartwright Industries to various shell companies. Corporate registrations in Richard Bartlett's name buried under layers of legal paperwork. Email printouts discussing the movement of funds. James Kirkland's forensic report, 70 pages detailing the systematic fraud. It's all there. Everything they need. We take this to the FBI. Nathan says. Let them handle it from here. But Olivia's shaking her head, her face hard. Richard has connections everywhere. Police, judges, politicians. My father knew that. That's why he was trying to handle it quietly. She looks at Nathan. We need a confession. Something undeniable. Something he can't lawyer his way out of. It's a terrible idea. Nathan knows it's a terrible idea. But he also knows she's right. Men like Richard Bartlett don't go down easily. They have expensive lawyers and political favors and the ability to make evidence disappear into thin air. How? He asks, even though he already suspects what she's going to say. Olivia's jaw sets in that determined line Nathan's beginning to recognize. We make him think he won. We tell him I found my father's files and I want to make a deal. Sell him my silence for a price he can't refuse. She pulls out her phone, the prepaid one, and starts typing. I'll send him a message. Ask for a meeting somewhere private where we can talk. Nathan catches her wrist. If you do this, you're painting a target on yourself. He's already tried to kill you once. Good. Olivia says, voice cold. Let him try again. This time we'll be ready. She finishes typing and sends the message before Nathan can stop her. The phone buzzes almost immediately. Richard's response is brief. My office. 8 p.m. tonight. Come alone. Olivia shows Nathan the screen. He thinks I'm scared and desperate. Perfect. Nathan wants to argue, wants to tell her this is too dangerous, that they should just take the evidence to the authorities and hope for the best. But he looks at her face and sees the same expression he wore in the mirror after his wife died, the look of someone who's lost too much and is done being afraid. They spend the day preparing. Nathan calls Jack and explains what they need. Within 3 hours, they have a wire thin enough to be invisible under clothing and recording equipment that can capture audio through walls. Sarah protests the whole plan. Says they're idiots. Says she's washing her hands of both of them. Then she shows up with a medical kit and instructions on how to treat a gunshot wound, just in case. At 7:30, Nathan drives Olivia to Cartwright Industries headquarters. The building's mostly empty at this hour, just security guards and the occasional executive working late. They park in the underground garage and Nathan checks the wire one more time, making sure it's transmitting clearly. Jack and his team are in a van 2 blocks away, listening to every word. You don't have to do this, Nathan says quietly. Olivia meets his eyes. Yes, I do. For my father. For everyone Richard hurt. She pauses. And for you. You almost died because of me last night. I almost died because I chose to. Nathan corrects. That's not on you. But Olivia's already getting out of the car, squaring her shoulders, preparing for the performance of her life. Nathan follows her to the elevator, rides up to the executive floor in silence. The doors open onto a hushed corridor, thick carpet muffling their footsteps. Richard Bartlett's office is at the end of the hall. Door open. Light spilling out. He's waiting for them. Richard's in his early 60s, silver-haired and distinguished in an expensive suit. He looks like someone's kind grandfather, the sort of man who donates to charities and volunteers at hospitals. He smiles when he sees Olivia, warm and concerned. "Olivia, dear. Thank you for coming. I've been so worried about you since that incident at the gala." His eyes flick to Nathan. "I thought I said come alone." Olivia steps forward, putting herself between Nathan and Richard. "He's my driver. After last night, I don't go anywhere without him." Richard's smile tightens just slightly. "Of course. Very sensible. Please sit down." He gestures to the chairs across from his desk. Olivia sits. Nathan remains standing, positioning himself where he can see both doors and the windows. Richard notices. Something flickers behind his pleasant expression. "So," he says, settling into his leather chair. "Your message said you found some of your father's files. What exactly did you find?" Olivia pulls out a folder, a copy of the audit, not the original, and lays it on the desk. "Everything. The offshore accounts. The shell companies. The embezzlement. 7 years of theft. $50 million. My father knew. He was going to expose you." Richard doesn't touch the folder. He just looks at it, his face carefully neutral. "Those are serious accusations, Olivia." "Based on what? Some documents that could have been fabricated? Your father was paranoid in his last months. You know that." "I know he died 3 days after receiving this audit." Olivia's voice is steady and cold. "I know someone tried to poison me last night the same way they probably poisoned him. And I know you're the only person with enough access and motivation to do it." Richard leans back in his chair, steeples his fingers. "And yet you came here alone to confront me with these accusations. Either you're very brave or very stupid." His smile's gone now, replaced by something harder, sharper. "I came here to make a deal," Olivia says. "You give me $20 million transferred to an account I specify, and I burn these files. We never speak of this again. You retire, cite health reasons, disappear. I take over the company completely, and we both move on with our lives." Richard studies her for a long moment. Nathan can see him calculating, weighing options, running scenarios. $20 million is a lot of money. He says, finally. "What makes you think I have that kind of liquid capital?" "You stole $50 million. Olivia points out. "I'm giving you a chance to keep 30. That's a generous offer considering I could go to the FBI instead." Richard's laugh is unexpected, sharp and bitter. "The FBI? Yes, you could do that. And then what?" "I have lawyers, Olivia. I have friends in very high places. I have ways to make this all disappear." He leans forward. "And you along with it. Your father thought he was untouchable too. Look how that worked out for him." The words hang in the air like a confession written in smoke. Nathan feels his muscles tense, ready to move if needed. Olivia's face has gone white, but her voice stays level. "So you admit it? You killed him?" Richard shrugs. "I admit nothing. But hypothetically, if someone were embezzling from a company and the owner discovered it, that person might have to protect themselves. It's just business, Olivia. Nothing personal. Nothing personal." Olivia repeats, her hands shaking now with anger overriding fear. "You murdered my father, your best friend, and it was just business?" Richard's expression doesn't change. "Last night was unfortunate. You were never supposed to come back from that gala. But your driver here," he nods at Nathan, "turned out to be more observant than expected. Who are you really? You're not just a driver." Nathan steps forward, putting himself partially in front of Olivia. "Secret Service. Presidential detail. Your hired waiter wasn't as professional as you thought." He can see the calculation happening in Richard's eyes, reassessing the threat level, running new scenarios. "So you're here as what? A witness?" Richard smiles again, but there's no warmth anywhere in it. This entire conversation is meaningless without proof. It's my word against hers. And I'm a respected executive with 30 years of service. She's a grieving daughter who's clearly unstable. He stands up and walks to the window overlooking the city. "I think this meeting is over. Take your files, Olivia. Do whatever you want with them." But know that if you try to use them against me, you'll lose everything. Your company, your reputation, your freedom. I'll make sure of it. Olivia stands too, her hands steady now. That's where you're wrong, Richard. This conversation isn't meaningless. Because I recorded every word. She pulls open her jacket, showing him the wire taped to her chest. The FBI is listening right now. They heard you confess to murder and embezzlement. It's over. For the first time, Richard's composure cracks completely. His face goes red, then white. You stupid girl. Do you have any idea what you've done? He moves fast for a man his age, pulling a gun from his desk drawer. Nathan's faster. He shoves Olivia behind him, already calculating angles and distances, running through options. Don't. He says quietly. Security's already on their way. FBI's right behind them. There's no way out. Richard keeps the gun trained on them, his hand surprisingly steady. There's always a way out. I just need a head start. He backs toward the door, keeping them covered. You two stay right there. Don't follow me. Nathan could rush him. Could take the chance, trust his training to disarm Richard before he could fire. But Olivia's right behind him, and Richard's desperate men make mistakes that get people killed. So Nathan stays still and watches Richard back into the hallway. The gun never wavers. Then Richard's gone and they hear his footsteps running toward the stairwell. Nathan grabs Olivia's hand. Come on. We're not letting him get away. They follow Richard down the stairs. Nathan in front, clearing corners, checking sightlines. 6 floors down. 8. 10. They burst out into the parking garage just in time to see Richard's car speeding toward the exit. And then the headlights appear. Multiple vehicles blocking the ramp. FBI agents with Jack Morrison standing front and center, badge held high. Richard slams on his brakes, tries to reverse, but more cars are behind him. He's boxed in completely. Nathan and Olivia watch from the stairwell door as agents swarm Richard's car, pull him out, cuff him. He's shouting something about lawyers and rights and false accusations, but no one's listening. Jack catches Nathan's eye across the garage and gives him a small nod. It's done. Olivia's hand finds Nathan's and squeezes tight. We got him. She whispers. We actually got him. Nathan squeezes back. Your father would be proud. The next few hours are a blur of statements and paperwork and FBI agents asking the same questions in different ways. Nathan tells them everything. The gala. The poison. The investigation. Olivia gives them her father's files, explains about the safe deposit box, plays them the recording from tonight. By the time they're done, the sun's coming up, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Nathan drives Olivia home in silence. She stares out the window, watching the city wake up, processing everything that's happened. When they pull into her building's garage, she doesn't immediately get out. Thank you, she says, finally. For everything. For saving my life. For helping me find the truth. For being exactly the kind of person my father trusted you to be. Nathan turns to look at her. I'm sorry about your father. I'm sorry I couldn't protect him. She meets his eyes and he sees tears there, finally spilling over. You protected me. That's what he wanted. They sit there for a moment. Two people who survived something terrible together, connected by tragedy and truth and something neither of them can quite name yet. Then Olivia asks, what happens now? You're not really just a driver. And I don't really need one anymore. So what are you? Nathan thinks about his daughter. About the life he's built in anonymity. About his wife and the promises he made to keep their child safe. About the last 3 years of hiding and the sudden strange relief of being seen for who he really is. I don't know. He admits. I've been running from my old life for so long. I'm not sure what comes next. Olivia wipes her eyes and manages a small smile. Well, when you figure it out, let me know. Cartwright Industries could use a new head of security. Someone with your particular skill set. Someone I can trust. It's an offer Nathan hadn't expected. A way back into the world he left behind, but on his own terms this time. I have a daughter, he says. Sophie. She's 7. Any job I take has to work around her schedule. I like kids. Olivia says. Bring her to the office sometime. Let her see what her dad does. She opens the car door, then pauses. The kiss at the gala. Was it really just about the poison? Nathan remembers that moment with perfect clarity. The decision made in a fraction of a second. The feel of her mouth against his. The taste of champagne and chemical death. The way she looked at him after, angry and alive. At the time, yes. He says honestly. Now, I'm not sure anymore. Olivia nods like that's the answer she expected. Well, when you figure that out too, let me know. She gets out of the car, then leans back in through the window. Nathan Hayes. Former Secret Service agent. Current lifesaver. Future head of security maybe. Thank you for being the kind of person who kisses billionaires to save their lives. She's gone before he can respond, disappearing into the elevator with a wave. 3 months later. Nathan stands in Olivia's office, his office now technically since he accepted the job as head of security, watching her give a press conference about the company's restructuring after Richard Bartlett's arrest and conviction. She's handled the scandal with grace, been transparent about the embezzlement, set up oversight committees and new financial controls. The company's stock dipped initially, then rebounded stronger than before. People respect honesty. They respect strength. Sophie sits in the chair next to Nathan, swinging her legs and drawing pictures of what she calls Daddy's boss lady. Olivia's been true to her word about welcoming his daughter to the office. Sophie comes by twice a week after school, does homework in the break room, charms everyone on staff. She asked once why Nathan kissed Olivia at the gala, having overheard someone mention it. Nathan explained about the poison, about saving lives, about doing the right thing even when it's hard. Sophie thought about it seriously, then announced that kissing someone to save them was very heroic and also very gross. The press conference ends and Olivia comes back to the office looking tired but satisfied. She's cut her hair shorter since taking over the company, wears pantsuits instead of dresses, moves through the world with new confidence. Grief changed her, but so did survival. How did I do? She asks Nathan. Perfect, he says. Strong. Transparent. Honest. Your father would be proud. She smiles and bends down to admire Sophie's drawing. Is that me? Sophie nods enthusiastically. You're wearing a cape because you're a boss and bosses are like superheroes. Olivia laughs and Nathan feels something warm settle in his chest. This is good. This is right. Building something new from the wreckage of the past. His daughter's safe and happy. A job that matters. And Olivia, who's become something more than an employer, something he's still figuring out how to name. She catches his eye over Sophie's head and raises an eyebrow in question. He smiles back, a promise of conversation still to come, of time to figure out what they're building together. That night, after dropping Sophie at home with the babysitter, Nathan returns to his apartment and pulls out an old box from the back of his closet. Inside are photos of his wife. Wedding pictures and vacation snapshots and candid moments caught on film. He looks at her smile, remembers her laugh. Feels the old grief settle lighter on his shoulders than it has in years. I'm doing okay. He tells her picture. Sophie's doing great. We're going to be fine. It feels true. For the first time in 3 years, it feels completely true. His phone buzzes. A text from Olivia. Dinner tomorrow? Just us. I'll even let you pay. Nathan smiles and types back. Deal. But only if you promise not to order poison champagne. Her response comes quickly. Too soon, Nathan. Way too soon. But yes, I promise. He sets the phone down and looks around his small apartment that felt like a hiding place for so long. Maybe it's time to stop hiding. Time to live again. Time to take chances. Time to kiss billionaires for reasons that have nothing to do with poison. The story could have ended there, neat and tidy, with bad guys in prison and good guys moving forward. But life's rarely that simple. A week later, Nathan receives an envelope at his office. No return address. No stamps. Hand-delivered to reception. Inside is a single photograph. His wife's car. The night of the accident. Taken from an angle the police photos hadn't shown. The intersection. The truck. The moment of impact captured in brutal clarity. And on the back, written in precise block letters. Richard Bartlett wasn't working alone. We're still watching. Nathan stares at the photo, feeling ice spread through his veins. The accident that stole his wife. That shaped the last 3 years of his life. that he investigated until exhaustion forced him to stop. It hadn't been an accident. He'd known it deep down somewhere. But without proof, knowing was useless. Now someone's telling him different. Someone wants him to know the truth. The question is why. And the more important question, who? He doesn't tell Olivia. Not yet. Not until he understands what this means. But that night, after Sophie's asleep, Nathan pulls out old files and begins investigating again. This time with resources he didn't have before. This time with nothing left to lose. The photograph sits on his desk like a promise. Or a threat. Nathan can't tell which. But he'll find out. He'll find out who killed his wife and why and what it has to do with Richard Bartlett and Cartwright Industries. He'll find out and he'll make them pay. Because that's what protectors do. They stand between the people they care about and the darkness. They kiss billionaires to save their lives. They raise daughters alone and carry grief like armor. They investigate and search and refuse to give up, no matter how long it takes. Nathan Hayes spent 3 years being invisible. Being safe. Being nothing more than a driver. But that version of himself just died in a parking garage with Richard Bartlett's confession. And whoever sent that photograph is about to learn something important. You can only push a man so far before he stops running and starts hunting. The real story? It's just beginning.